StoryLearning Press presents 101 Conversations in Intermediate French, short, natural dialogues to improve your spoken French from home. By Olly Richards, read by David McNeill and Thierry Saboulard. Introduction. If you've ever tried speaking French with a stranger, chances are it wasn't easy. You might have felt tongue-tied when you tried to recall words or verb conjugations. You might have struggled to keep up with a conversation, with French words flying at you at 100 miles an hour. Indeed, many students report feeling so overwhelmed with the experience of speaking French in the real world that they struggle to maintain motivation. The problem lies with the way French is usually taught. Textbooks and language classes break French down into rules and other nuggets of information in order to make it easier to learn. But that can leave you with a bit of a shock when you come to actually speak French out in the real world. People don't speak like they do in my textbooks. That's why I wrote this book. 101 Conversations in Intermediate French prepares you to speak French in the real world. Unlike the contrived and unnatural dialogues in your textbook, the 101 authentic conversations in this book offer you simple but authentic spoken French that you can study away from the pressure of face-to-face conversation. The conversations in this book tell the story of a detective in Paris. You'll experience the story by following the conversations the characters have with one another. Written entirely in spoken French, the conversations give you the authentic experience of reading real French in a format that is convenient and accessible for an intermediate learner, B1, B2, on the Common European Framework of Reference. The extensive, story-based format of the book helps you get used to spoken French in a natural way, with the words and phrases you see gradually emerging in your own spoken French as you learn them naturally through your reading. The book is packed with engaging learning material, including short dialogues that you can finish in one sitting, helpful English definitions of difficult words, scene-setting introductions to each chapter to help you follow along, and a story that will have you gripped until the end. These learning features allow you to learn and absorb new words and phrases, and then activate them, so that over time you can remember and use them in your own spoken French. You'll never find another way to get so much practice with real spoken French. Suitable for intermediate learners, 101 Conversations in Intermediate French is the perfect complement to any French course and will give you the ultimate head start for using French confidently in the real world. If you have set your sights on becoming fluent, this book is the biggest step forward you will take in your French this year. If you're ready, let's get started. The 5-step listening process. Here is my suggested 5-step process for making the most of each conversation in this book. 1. Listen to the short introduction to the conversation. This is important, as it sets the context for the conversation, helping you understand what you are about to hear. Take note of the characters who are speaking and the situation they are in. If you need to refresh your memory of the characters, refer to the character introductions at the front of the book. 2. Listen to the conversation all the way through without stopping. Your aim is simply to reach the end of the conversation, so do not stop to re-listen to difficult passages, and do not worry if there are things you do not understand. Simply try to follow the gist of the conversation. 3. Go back and listen to the same conversation a second time. You can pause the recording occasionally if you like, but be sure to focus on making it through to the end of the chapter, just like before. 4. By this point, you should be able to follow the gist of the conversation. You might like to continue to listen to the same conversation a few more times until you feel confident. This is time well spent, and, with each repetition, you will gradually build your understanding of the content. 5. Move on. There is no need to understand every word in the conversation, and the greatest value to be derived from the book comes from listening to it through to completion. Move on to the next conversation and do your best to enjoy the story at your own pace, just as you would any other audiobook. At every stage of the process, there will inevitably be words and phrases you do not understand, or passages you find confusing. Instead of worrying about the things you don't understand, try to focus instead on everything that you do understand, and congratulate yourself for the hard work you are putting into improving your language ability. Character profiles. Claire Gentil. Detective Gentil is a policewoman who works in Paris. After her previous experiences with Sophie and Alice, she now specializes in cases related to the world of art. Jacques Dubois. Jacques is a detective and colleague of Detective Gentil. He has had less time on the job, and therefore Detective Gentil is his guide and mentor. He listens attentively to what she says and follows her instructions to the letter, although he is not afraid to give his opinion when he thinks necessary. Sophie, a young art historian and curator who works at the Louvre Museum. Amélie Rousseau, the director of the Louvre Museum. Inspecteur en chef, chief inspector at the police station where Detective Gentil works. He controls the work of everyone in the division. Lucas, a scholar at the Louvre Museum under the supervision of Sophie. He is an art history student. Everyone in his family is on the police force, but he wants to dedicate his life to painting. Introduction to the story. Shortly after arresting a major art forger, Detective Claire Gentil receives a call from the director of the Louvre Museum in Paris. Has another work of art gone missing? Actually, the opposite. A mysterious painting has appeared on the Louvre's walls. No one knows where it came from or how it got there. Detective Gentil goes to the museum with her partner Jacques Dubois. They meet the director, Amélie, and the curator, Sophie. Could this be a mistake? A joke? In fact, it's neither. They discover some tiny writing on the back of the painting. This painting is not here by accident. While they try to figure out where the painting came from, they further discover that it is filled with clues. The painting contains 5 scenes, each representing a crime that will be committed somewhere in Paris by the end of the day. As they race around the city to stop this crime wave, more questions arise. Who is behind this network of organized crime? And who is trying to warn Detective Gentil?
Le secret de la peinture. Conversation 1. L'appel. L'inspecteur Claire Gentil est réveillée par la sonnerie du téléphone. Elle regarde son réveil. Il est 8 heures du matin. Elle entend son fils, Mathieu, répondre à l'appel. Après quelques minutes, elle arrive enfin à rassembler ses forces pour sortir du lit et aller à la cuisine. « Bonjour maman !»« Bonjour mon chéri !»« Comment vas-tu aujourd'hui ?»« Très bien. Ça va maman ?»« Je suis fatigué. Maman a travaillé dur cette semaine. J'espère que les prochains jours seront plus calmes. Moi aussi, je suis épuisé. »« Ah oui ? Et pourquoi ça, mon cher fils ? Ils me font travailler très dur à l'école. Le maître nous fait peindre et encore peindre. Et il veut qu'on utilise toutes les couleurs. Et ensuite, il y a l'heure du conte. Et puis nous devons chanter une chanson. Et ensuite, jouer au ballon. Je vois. Et ensuite, ici à la maison, ta mère s'endort et tu dois répondre au téléphone. C'était qui, d'ailleurs ? Ton chef. Il a dit que c'était agent. Agent ? Non, c'était pas agent. Il a dit que c'était sergent. Mais qu'est-ce que tu racontes, Mathieu ? Attends, il a dit que c'était urgent. Oui, c'est ça. Il a dit que c'était urgent. Conversation 2. L'urgence. Claire Gentil prend son téléphone portable et elle appelle son chef, l'inspecteur Faure. C'est un homme au caractère difficile et avec des manières un peu brusques. Mais ils ont toujours eu de bons rapports. En discutant, Claire prépare un chocolat chaud pour Mathieu, qui le boit en silence, en regardant des dessins animés. « Allô ? Bonjour Faure, c'est moi, l'inspecteur Gentil. Vous avez appelé tout à l'heure ? Oui, j'ai dit à votre fils que c'était urgent. Où est-ce que vous étiez ? Désolé, après l'affaire de cette semaine, je suis épuisé. J'étais au lit. Eh bien, j'espère que vous avez bien dormi, car on a quelque chose de nouveau qui nécessite votre présence immédiate au commissariat. Oh non. De quoi...
Nous espérons que vous avez apprécié cet aperçu. Pour continuer à écouter ce livre audio sur Google Play Livres, utilisez le lien dans la description de la vidéo.